Hello, and welcome back to Suspended Fanimation. I'm your host, Dennis Bithoulkas, and it's time for Is It Worth My Time? And this time around, it's the Netflix series Squid Game. You probably heard of it, possibly, maybe. Before I get started, let me take care of some business first, then we'll get down to it. If you like what you see here, like, share, and subscribe. If you're still on the fence about subscribing, take a look at the video that pops up at the very end here. Basically, YouTube takes the algorithms of all the stuff you've been watching and tries to match it as best as possible to one of the videos from my vast video library and pops it up there right there for you. And if you like what you see there, hit that subscribe button down below there. And if you can, hit that like button, the share button as well. And thanks, Marks. And if you want to know when I'm going to be on live again next, you get that bell down below. It's a 50-50 chance of YouTube actually notifying you. Best thing to do, go to suspendedfanimation.com. Take a look at the schedule I have up there. I change it out every week. Also, I have all the links to my social media on there and all the links to my pages as well. So let's see here. So I'm going to do the non-spoiler version of this for those of you who don't know uh, what this is, honestly. So this is kind of a phenomenon that's been taking over on Netflix right now. It's a Korean series, 9 episodes long, about a lot of people that are down their luck, have debt, that kind of stuff, that decide to join a game in order to win a bunch of money to get rid of that debt and change their fortune, if you will. Only thing is, and it's all children's games. They have to go through 6 games, and literally what this is they are these children's games are deadly. So it's life or death situation is really what it is. That is what it kind of boils down to. There's a bit more to it, of course, which I'm going to get into in the spoiler version of it, but it's pretty brutal, I'll say that right now. So, if it's not your cup of tea, I don't blame you. This probably wouldn't be for you. Uh, but I would say this is almost more akin to a horror movie than than a drama. I know they, market it as a drama, but I don't know. I think, horror would be more appropriate on this one. So with that said, and is it worth my time on this one? I'm kind of neutral on this one, to tell you the truth. I am back and forth on this one. So I'm almost, if you're into this kind of stuff, yes, I would say it's worth your time. If not, it's going to really turn you off and it's not going to be worth your time. So I'm middle of the road on this one. So yeah, this is going to be one of those rare middle of the road ones for me on that one. So with that said, spoiler alert, I am going to spoil the series. If you haven't seen it, go and watch it or not, depending on however you want to do it. Then you can come on back. This will be a video you can comment down below in the comment section. Give you enough time to pause, walk away, whatever you need to do, all that kind of stuff. Yeah. So a little bit about the comments here. Let's see what we got going on here. Heather says this is a quiet. This is quite the critique of capitalism. Penn says my coworkers thought it was too violent. Mork says it starts really bad, really, really bad, but finally around episode 3 it picks up steam. Yeah, so I agree with you, Morks. There was a couple times during the first episode I was getting ready to just kind of shut it off and go, fuck this, I'm done. And I'm like, okay, I heard that it's actually bad to begin with, and that you got to get through some shit in the beginning in order to get to it. So I was like, all right, I'm just gonna do that. So I did it, suffered through the first 2 episodes, got to the third episode, and we finally started moving along with some stuff. Um, Heather says my first reaction was I had seen this story, but it went as it went. The twist kept me in it. Yeah, it's a little amalgam of a whole bunch of different stories, kind of pieced together to make a whole new story is really what it is, and it's a lot of familiar pieces. So what I didn't like about this whole thing was And yes, I know it's kind of it's a life, if you will. You know, life is not fair. You know, we all know this. You know, universe is not fair. The universe is indifferent to everyone. So when the main character, and I'm going to murder their names because of course it's Korean, uh Jihan, uh when he finally confronts the old man, Ilnam, and is like, why, what was this all about? And he doesn't get an answer because the old man dies, of course. uh and really the only answer he gets was because the old man and his rich friends were bored with life, and they decided to slaughter hundreds of people, literally slaughter hundreds of people, in the hopes that these people were hoping that they can get money to change their life around, which was like, fuck, you know? Yeah. Um, Mork says the ending, they slowly dialed it in. For me, it wasn't a surprise. The whole thing with him knowing about the rope and how it looked like the streets he grew up. Yeah. Yeah. I was kind of, I questioned it at first, Morks, and then I was like, okay, I'm just gonna roll with it. But yeah. Also, the whole cop storyline of the cop looking for his brother and going to the island, which we of course we know the cop is not dead. He, if there's no body, he splashed into the water after being shot in the shoulder. He's not dead. So, I mean, he's still alive. We get to see him in season 2 when he comes back. I did like to see that, Storm Shadow is back in this. Um, so playing the front man, of course, Lee Byung Hun. I also loved him in Red 2, by the way, because he did a great job in Red 2 as well. Um, and having him be the front man, um, I want to know more about why he chose to be the front man. Why he was supposedly a contestant that became, started working for, the Squid Game. I don't know. That was the only thing I was kind of more interested in. The s- the spectacle of it, the whole game aspect of it, I didn't really care for, quite honestly. So yeah, that was just because there was only gonna be one winner, just one winner, and everyone was thinking there was gonna be multiple winners, and it's like, no, you're coming down to one winner. Especially when they just started doing the wholesale slaughter during the tug of war. I mean, you knew that was gonna be happening there. Heather says I would recommend watching in the original Korean and subtitles. The dubbed English made me think the acting wasn't good, but actually the acting was. So I watch it in with the English, dub as well as the English subtitles. So you're getting the same subtitles, and sometimes they're off a little bit on the dub, but I found it okay that way. But I watch everything with subtitles, quite honestly. You find a lot more stuff that way. Um, Penn says I haven't seen it. It sounded sort of like The Running Man to me. I still may watch. So it's completely different than The Running Man. The Running Man is people forced into this. These people are they choose it of their own accord. So that's the other thing that's pretty fucked up about this is these people are so desperate that they are given the chance, and once they find out that it's a life or death situation, they do vote to not go on with the game anymore. And so they all go home. They all get dumped off wherever. And then they realize their home life sucks immensely. So that, they're going to die anyway of something. They might as well go back to the game and risk their life in order to get this money. And even if that's the other thing too. So the money that's being generated, it's basically it's 100 million won when a person dies per person. And so excuse me, is that right? So it ends up being 45 billion won is what it is, a little over 45 billion won, which translates roughly to about $37 million US is what it comes out to for one person. Not a lot of money, honestly, when you're thinking about life and death kind of stuff. I don't know, man. So these are people that are so desperate that they are willing to risk their own lives in order to get this money to change their lives around. And I'm not talking about like just like 20 people or 30 people. We're talking like at least 500 people that, per game that's going on. And it just seems a bit much. And yes, Marks, I agree with you. The organ trafficking was gory, but actually that wasn't surprising. I was kind of surprised that that wasn't part of the game anyway, to make more money off of it. So, Celebro469 says, being very similar to Alice in Borderlands, the ending of Squid Game made a lot more sense. I liked Alice in Borderlands a lot more, to tell you the truth. Celebro, which I actually covered in another Is It Worth My Time? So I did cover that one. I liked that one a lot more, uh, just because that one really doesn't have a protagonist, if you will, or an antagonist, excuse me, an antagonist. Um, you don't know what the fuck is going on and why this is happening to them. Whereas in this, you know who the antagonist is, at the end, but there's no reason given. It's just, because we're bored kind of thing. And yeah. Mark says there were 456 people, hence why the 45.6 billion. Yes, exactly. Thank you. Yes, over 200 were killed in the first round alone of the red light, green light. And yeah, some pretty fucked up stuff. Also, the one thing I did like the geometric designations. You have circle for drone, you have triangle for guard or a weapons person, and then of course square is a manager, because all managers are squares, and then of course you have the front man. So, and the front man is the head of all of that. So I did like some aspects of it, but overall, yeah, this didn't float my boat really, and it wasn't it wasn't the best thing for me on this one. So it wasn't my bag. Let's put it that way. Heather says, I was not at all surprised that it was a bunch of rich men watching. No, I wasn't either. I mean, you knew that was what it was coming down to. I was surprised there wasn't like some rich women too in there, but Mork says, him not using any of the money was amazing to see. Uh, Shows he ended fucked up. Yeah, well, of course. I mean, he had severe PTSD. Um, his mom died while he was gone, probably within a day or two of him getting, the money. Actually, it looked like she died just that night, just before he came in the door. So he probably could have saved her. So yeah, yeah, I don't know. Heather says, I really hated seeing him break yet another promise by not getting on that plane. Yeah, so the end scene too, with him seeing the salesman giving the card to somebody else, and then him grabbing the card and him getting on the plane. He's gonna go and see his daughter in Los Angeles. And instead he calls up the number, and you could tell everyone was yelling at the screen going, dumb fuck, don't do it. And that they knew that he was getting on the plane at that moment. They were still following him. That's kind of creepy right there, because I wouldn't have gotten on the plane either, just for the fact that who knows if they were going to blow that shit up and then take the money back, you know? Yeah. Raymond says, I don't like it either, but why do you think it's such a current cultural phenomenon? Um, because the world is pretty shitty at the moment, Raymond. That's why. Um, yeah, there's a lot of shit going on out there. So misery loves company, as they say. And I kind of have a feeling that's the reason why this is popular. I hate to say it, but I really do. And yeah, I mean, like I said, I'm not a big fan of it. If you think about this, if this had premiered, oh, let's say 5 years ago, All right, let's say 5 years ago if this premiered, um, I don't think it would be it would be shocking more than anything else. It would be completely shocking, and that's what people would be talking about it for is the shock value of it more than anything else. People aren't talking about this for the shock value of it. They're talking about it because of, well, what was going on in it, and we've seen a lot more horrible things in the world than what's going on in these things, which really kind of sucks, you know? The writer's been trying to get this produced for 9 years, yeah. Well, he actually stopped, and I know he said, because of the 2016 US election, that was the reason why he decided to actually try and get this moving again. That's the only reason why he tried. He actually stopped for a little while. He was like, "Yeah, fuck it." And, yeah, that's kinda what pushed him. Mork says it's a cultural phenomenon because there's nothing else to watch. Everybody locked down was watched everything, and people like gore. Had this before, had this been before COVID, it would be canceled. I don't know if it'd be canceled. Like I said, I think it would just be shocking more than anything else. Just like Battle Royale that came before it. Battle Royale, when that movie came out in the what 90s, I want to say, it was shocking. It was very, very shocking knowing I'd seen it before. The book had been out there. People have read the book. I mean, I read the book, the manga actually of it. So it wasn't that shocking to me, but to people that weren't introduced to any of this stuff, yes, that was shocking then. So you always up the ante as you're going along. There you go. Heather thinks I think it also represents a lot of collective anger at terrible financial situations due to COVID. It's relatable. I guess. Yeah. I don't know. I've been watching happier stuff on Netflix than that. Um, what is it? The one I've been watching lately is there's a baking show that involves engineering. And the only reason why I got into that because the guy who's hosting it also hosts the show uh, Human Magic Tricks for Humans. Magic Tricks for Humans. That's what it is. He's a magician. Yeah. So that was the reason why I watched it. And actually, it's pretty funny. I like it. Yeah. Heather says if you live in a pretty rural community, you see the poverty more. Yeah, I live in urban. Uh, we have a lot of poverty in urban stuff too. I mean, a lot of it. I mean, what he was seeing, out on the street with, people just kind of stepping over. We have that here. So yes, magic for Susan. That's the one. Morks. Yes, magic for Susan. I love that little vignette. By the way, that little bit. It makes me laugh. Sleeber says, "Don't forget Hunger Games." Yeah, so Hunger Games also is part of it as well. Sleeper says, "I read the book and saw the movies. Couldn't understand why kids were drawn to this. My daughter was reading this in school. I thought it was inappropriate for elementary." Yeah, just a bit. Just a bit inappropriate for elementary. Uh, but yeah, I mean, Hunger Games again is a product of his time, and it's really, I mean, it's violent in the book. The movie actually tones it down quite a bit, and the movie is nowhere near as gory as what we saw in this, scene here, or this series, I should say. And it also didn't have any organ trafficking either. So, what you think with the Hunger Games, they probably could have, but all the districts are separate. So, I mean, how are you going to get the organs? Never mind. It's a logistical nightmare. So, yeah, like I said, middle of the road for me on this one. I'm neither yay or nay on this one. Um, yeah. Raymond says, "Are you going to have any Halloween themed streams coming up?" I don't know, Raymond. I'll have to think about that. Um, I do. I did watch the Muppets Haunted Mansion, and I was thinking about covering it at one point, and then I was like, nah. I'll tell you right now, the Muppets Haunted Mansion is a good cleanser for this. If you just want some silly fucking fun, the Muppets Haunted Mansion is actually pretty good. So, yeah, Morks, I don't want to hear about that. I don't even want to know how you know about that either. So, yeah. Anyway, yeah, 45 billion won. I mean, it's not a not a lot of money to sneeze at, shall we say? Mork says I started Rick and Morty. I'm ashamed to admit. It's not bad. If you want something better though, watch Primal. Yeah, Gennady Tartakovsky's Primal. Not only did it win Emmys or an Emmy, I should say, it also was up for an Oscar. I remember I talked about all this as I covered it on Is It Worth My Time? There's a reason why that shit did what it did because it's good. And there's a season 2 that's gonna be coming out for Primal, which I'm very, very happy. That's on Adult Swim. It's animated. There is no dialogue, by the way, or very little dialogue. But yeah, I've had they he won an Emmy and then he was up for an Oscar for it as well. So it's the first time also an Adult Swim series has been up for an Oscar, which I don't know how a series was up for an Oscar, but there you go. Cordell Fenival says bread and entertainment, bread and circuses. That's right. Works. It's the Romans. That's it. Bread and circuses. Yep. I'll give you that, Cordell. I agree with you on that. It's during rough times, it's always bread and circuses, and that's probably the reason why this is doing so well. Yeah. Thanks, Pen, for putting that up. And hey, Mr. Roboto, how you doing? Um, yeah, I gushed about Primal because Primal is fucking awesome. It really is. It's one of those series every now and then I'll go back and I'll watch an episode of it just because it's so beautifully done, honestly. It's the pinnacle of animation, where animation should be. So, thanks, Pen. Yeah, there is a lot of shit in the archives. I mean, I have the amount of stuff I've covered. I actually, if when I go back and I'm like, really, I covered that? Oh yeah, I did cover that, and I surprised myself. Not to toot my own horn or anything like that, and I can't do that because I mean I'm just not that flexible. So, yeah, I look at that stuff and I'm like, damn, I actually did cover quite a bit there. The gray figure? What are you talking about, the gray figure? You're talking about that one right there? That is, King Shark, Suicide Squad, which I talked about as well. And no, I did not see Malignant, by the way. I know people were gonna ask me about Malignant, and I didn't get a chance to see it. I'll watch it when it comes out again on HBO Max. I just haven't I didn't have the time, honestly. Um, I'm getting my ass kicked up, down, sideways, left, right, spatially, all that kind of stuff at work. So, I don't get me wrong, I like the new job, I really do. It's just there's a lot of fucking work, a lot of work, and I always seem to be behind on everything. That's why I was late to this, because that's what happens. You get busy. And then also I'm trying to find a new place and all that kind of stuff because my lease ends up here in January. And I really don't want to renew my lease here. So there's a lot of stuff going on. That's what I'm trying to say. Yeah. So, with that said, I'm going to let you guys go for the night. Thank you to everybody who joined me tonight in the chat. And oh, wait a second. Hang on a sec. What's going on here? Uh, Cordell says the first 6 episodes were great, but there's been losing quality gradually screenplay wise since. What are you talking about there? Move to the East Coast? Hell no. The least coast? No, I'm not going to go to the least coast. I'm going to stay on the West Coast, which is the best coast, man. Come on, you know that. Celebro says, do you think the guards were also there without options? Like, for example, is it possible some players we didn't really see dying or taken off screen and obligated to stay as guards? See, I don't know that, Celebro. I'm fairly sure they're going to kind of go into that a little bit in the second season because there's a second season coming the way they set it up. Um, I don't think the guards were there without options. Now the servants might have been there. They might have been bought at some point, just the way they were kind of used as toys for the VIPs. So really, Cordell, you didn't like Primal? I liked Primal a lot. I liked all the whole thing actually worked for me. So yeah. Penn says no East Coast batch. I know, the old saying though. I'm not bashing the East Coast. I'm just saying I don't want to, it's a great place to visit. I just don't want to live there. Um, uh, so with that said, I'm gonna let you guys go for the night. Thank you to everybody who joined me tonight in the chat, and thank you if you made it this far in the video. If you're still on the fence about subscribing, take a look at the video that pops up at the very end here. YouTube takes the algorithms of all the stuff you've been watching and tries to match it as best as possible. One of the videos in my vast video library and pops it up there just for you. And if you like what you see there, hit that subscribe button down below there. And also, if you can, hit that like button and the share button as well while you're down there. And if you want to know when I'll be on live again next, you can hit that bell down below. It's a 50-50 chance of YouTube actually notifying you. Best thing to do is go to suspendedfanimation.com. Take a look at the schedule. I put it up every week. Also, all the links to my social media are there, and all my pages are there as well. Penn says, lived in Cali for 6 months, never got back. What do you mean? You never going back? Or were you trying to invoke LL Cool J there, Penn? Or, yeah, well, never mind. Too many jokes to be made at this point. All right. With that said, thank you, everyone. I will see you. Oh, what's going on? What's going on the rest of this week? I didn't even say anything about that. Oh my God. See what happens. Work's got me all in a tizzy. I can't remember what's going on next and all this stuff. So, what's happening? Tomorrow, I'm off. Thursday is going to be a new episode of Doom Patrol. Friday, I'm off. Saturday is Saturday morning blast off where I take the genre news of the weekend, air genre stuff you guys want to talk about. We talk about it. Sunday is spoiler alert. That is where we get to talk about anything and everything that's out in the public, and we can talk spoilers on that one. Monday is Why the Last Man, and then we roll back around to Tuesday with Is It Worth My Time? I don't know what I'm doing as of yet. We'll figure it out together as we go along. So, yeah. What about the Facebook link? Morks? What? What about that? 6 comments up, the Facebook link, huh? What? Anyway. Thanks, everybody. I will see you again on Thursday. Until then, don't let the door hit your ass on the way out. Otherwise, you may have to decide what tempered glass looks like and what regular glass looks like. Only if you can see it from the side and if it's lit correctly. And maybe if you can get, a listen to it so you can tell maybe if it's tempered glass or regular glass before you have to step on it. Or you just shove the person behind you onto the glass and see if it holds or not. Thanks, everybody. I will see you again on Thursday. Until then, stay safe, be well, take care, wear those masks, get those vaccine shots. Stay safe out there, everyone. Thanks. Have a good night, and I'll see you again on Thursday. Good night, everyone.